Hello everyone, welcome to Dr. Rajkumar's Learning App. In this session, we are going to discuss about the history of banking system in India. Okay, so banking system was not new to our country, which was emerged during the time period of history itself. Okay, earlier time during the ancient period and all, banking system means temples only. Temples worked as the banking system. Later on, development of business and transaction, the people come up with the banking system. So here we are going to discuss about the history of the complete banking system in India, and also how many banks were nationalized, and all those numbers that we are going to discuss. So the advancement of Indian banking system, which was broadly classified into three different parts. Okay, pre-independence, post independence, that is second phase, and the third phase. So first phase before independence, second phase post independence, third phase after 1991. Why we are mentioning here after 1991 means the first time there was LPG introduced in government, which is easing the license to the private sector as well. So liberalization and privatization, globalization. Okay, this LPG was introduced during the PV Narasimha Rao government, and during that time period, the Finance Minister of India, Dr. Manmohan Singh. Okay, so broadly, the history of banking categorized into three phases: pre-independence, second phase that is post-independence, and third phase after the LPG. Okay, the pre-independence phase before 1947, because the banking system was commenced in India. The first foundation of banking happened, which is known as Bank of Hindustan. Remember all the term that is known as a fact. Bank of Hindustan, which was established in the region of Calcutta in 1770. Okay, which was operated till 1832. Okay, after that many banks came, but may not successful, such General Bank of India, Oud Commercial Bank, likewise. So the first commercial bank of India, that is Oud Commercial Bank, but that is not that much popular. It got failure. Whereas some successful bank also continued. Allahabad Bank, remember, which was established in the year of 1865. Punjab National Bank in the year of 1894 with headquarters of Lahore that time, Pakistan now. Bank of India 1906, Bank of Baroda 1908, Central Bank of India 1911. So these are all the first commercial banks of India were opened and also successfully ran in our country before the independence. While some other like Bank of Bengal, Bank of Bombay and Bank of Madras, all these three banks finally got merged as a single entity in the year of 1929, which popularly known as Imperial Bank of India. That particular Imperial Bank of India only, later it was renamed into State Bank of India in the year of 1955. Okay, remember Bombay, okay, Bank of Bombay, Bank of Bengal and Bank of Madras. All the three banks merged into one entity, which is popularly known as Imperial Bank of India. That Imperial Bank of India only changed their name into State Bank of India in the year of 1955. Okay, so as per the Government of India Act 1935, the Reserve Bank of India was formed. Earlier it was not Reserve Bank of India, okay, it is Federal Bank. Federal Bank of India was formed based on the recommendation of Hilton Young Commission. Okay, later on it is known as Reserve Bank of India. Remember the person name called Hilton Young, he is the chairman of that particular commission. He come up with the recommendation to set up RBI, which was in the year of 1926 itself. They gave the recommendation. Based on that only the provision were added under the 1935 Act. Hilton Young Commission set up in 1926. Based on that recommendation only, 1935 the Federal Bank of India was opened, and that has been renamed into RBI, Reserve Bank of India. Okay, the second phase from 1947 to 1991. Okay, so here broadly the main characteristics feature of the nationalization of bank. They started focusing on what? Nationalization. Because the reason behind the nationalization in India, the first point is the banks mostly created the need of large industries, big business houses. So they need to provide more amount of money as a loan. And sectors such agriculture, small scale industries and exports were lagging behind. For that purpose, they wanted to nationalize the bank. The poor masses continued to be exploited by the moneylenders. So the government of India decided to nationalization of all the banks. Okay, so following this, in the year of 1949, 1st January, Reserve Bank of India was nationalized. First bank was nationalized, that is Reserve Bank of India. 14 commercial banks. How many commercial banks? 40 commercial banks were nationalized on 19th July 1969 under Indira Gandhi government. Okay, during 1969, it was, all commercial banks were nationalized. So the list of commercial banks which is nationalized, but you won't get all, question based on this, but you will get the round figure as a question. 14, banks were nationalized. Okay, 14 commercial banks were nationalized, in the year of 1969 under Indira Gandhi government. 6 more commercial, banks were nationalized in April 1980. These are mentioned here: Andhra Bank, Corporation Bank, New Bank of India, Oriental Bank of Commerce, Punjab and Sindh Bank, and Vijaya Bank. Okay, this happened in the year of April 1980. Okay, 6 more commercial, bank were nationalized. So meanwhile, on the recommendation of Narasimha Committee, okay, regional rural bank were formed on 1975. Regional rural banks. What is the objective of this? Because they wanted to, provide the assistance or promoting the financial inclusion to the people who are living in the rural areas of our country. Based on that, to meet a specific requirement from the different sectors such agriculture, housing, foreign trade and industry, some banking institution also set up, such NABARD, Exim Bank, NHB, SIDB. Okay, all these banks were established. Okay, so apex level banking institutions were also set up like NABARD, that is National Bank for Agriculture, and Rural Development. Next, Exim, that is, Export and Import, bank, and also NHB, National Housing Banking, and SIDB, Small Industries Development, bank. So these were established for the purpose of improvement of the rural areas. Third base, that is 1991 and beyond. So considering this 1991, there was a committee named called Narasimhan Committee gave its recommendation, that is to allow the entry of private sector players into the banking system. As I told you, 1991, the government of India focused on the LPG reform, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization. Based on the privatization, Narasimhan Committee recommended India can, allow the entry of private sector, private banks, in our country. So following this, RBI gave license to 10 private entities, of which few survived the market demands, which are ICCI, HDFC, Axis Bank, IndusInd Bank, DCB Bank. So all these banks survived after getting license. In 1998, the Narasimhan Committee again recommended entry for more private players in our country. As a result, Reserve Bank of India come up with the license to the following newbies: Kotak Mahindra Bank, Yes Bank. During 2013 and 14, third round of bank licensing took place, and in 2015, IDFC Bank and Bandhan Bank got emerged. In order to further financial inclusion, RBI also proposed setup of two new kind of banks, that is payment banks and small banks. See, here you need to understand the name of bank and when it was established and which year. Okay, Allahabad Bank established in the year of 1865. Some facts: Allahabad Bank is the oldest public sector bank in India, having branches all over our country and serving the customers over last 45 years. Imperial Bank of India, later it was renamed in the year of 1955 into which bank? State Bank of India. Punjab National Bank is the first bank purely managed by the Indians, which was established in Lahore during 1895. First truly Swadeshi Bank, which is known as Central Bank of India, which is called as India's first truly Swadeshi Bank, which was established in the year of 1911, because whole bank was managed by Indians alone. Okay, Union Bank of India was inaugurated by Mahatma Gandhi in the year of 1919. Union Bank of India. Obzon Smith was the first governor of Reserve Bank of India. Okay, Obzon Smith. C.D. Deshmukh. Okay, right now the RBI governor Shaktikant Das. Okay, first governor is Osborne Smith. The first Indian bank to open overseas branch, that is Bank of India. It was established a branch in London in the year of 1946. State Bank of India has the maximum number of overseas branches as of now. So these are all the facts where you may expect some static part, part of the question related to the history of banking in India. Okay, so based on that, a few questions we will discuss. Which of the following the first presidency, okay, bank in India? First presidency bank in India, that is Bank of Bengal. The three presidency banks in India were amalgamated into which bank? Imperial Bank of India. Which of the following is the first Indian owned bank? Okay, first Indian owned bank. Okay, I think we discussed that point here. The first Indian owned bank, Punjab National Bank. Okay, Punjab National Bank. In which year the State Bank of India was formed? 1955 is the year. All the three presidency banks united together in 1955, SBI came into existence. How many banks were nationalized in the year of 1969? That is 14 banks. How many banks were nationalized in the year of 1980? That is around 6 banks. As of now, on the current situation in India, 12 banks were nationalized. Okay, how many banks? 12 banks were nationalized. Okay, Punjab National Bank. Okay, Punjab National Bank. Bank of Baroda. Okay, Bank of Baroda. Bank of India. Central Bank of India. Canara Bank. Okay, Canara Bank. Union Bank of India. Indian Overseas Bank. Okay, Punjab and Sindh Bank. Then you have Indian Bank. Then you have UCO Bank. Then Bank of Maharashtra. The last one is State Bank of India. So as of now, 12 banks were nationalized in India. So respectively, all this you can read it once. Okay. So practice more number of questions from this chapter. We'll see you in the next session. Thank you.